welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today is going to be another installment in my series of Shop My Stash. So that is a series that I do every single month where I pick out some products, use them for the entire month, get my thoughts on them, see if I want to keep them around, declutter them, and then we pick out new products for the next month. So if that sounds good to you, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, stick around. I do upload videos twice a week. But with all that out of the way, let's get started talking about the products that I've been using for the last month. All right, let's just get started because there's a lot to go over. These videos tend to be a little bit longer because I can always talk and talk and talk. But for primers, I have two little minis here. First one is the Cover FX Mattifying Primer with Anti-Acne Treatment. This is a mattifying primer. And then I also have the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. I got this during holiday one year as like a little set with all the little mini milk sticks in them. And I did really like this. The only thing I don't appreciate about this is there's so much product in here, but this is the highest it twists up. So I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do once I get past that. I guess I'm gonna have to like scoop it out. But I actually really enjoyed this blur stick. I want to continue to use it. It was my first time, I think, even trying it and giving it a shot. This could be something that I see myself picking up in the full size. I really liked it that much. As far as the Cover FX one, this one was okay. I really wanted to finish this and I didn't because I just like the milk one so much more. So I didn't use this as much as I wanted, but this was okay. It is very liquidy just in comparison to the Milk Makeup one. So it kind of has like that Smashbox feel, but it just, I don't know. I preferred the stick over this. These kind of just liquidy ones I don't like as much. So I'll continue to use this. I'll finish it up, but I wouldn't repurchase it. On to concealer. So I have two and then a little color corrector. I only have two color correctors, so I switch between the Benefit Boi-ing Brightening Concealer, which is this one. I have the shade number 2. And then I also have the Becca Under Eye Corrector. So we'll just be swapping this one out for the Becca one. But I'm pretty happy to finally see a little bit of a dip in this. It's nice to finally see progress on products. I do like this one better than the Becca one, so I will continue to keep this. And then for just normal concealers, I have the Wet n Wild PhotoFocus concealer. I feel like I have to be almost done with this one. It feels light. I can't see down there to see how much is left, but I can tell I'm almost running out of that. And then this is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Nude. In the Wet n Wild, I have the shade Light Ivory. But this one is okay. I reached for the Wet n Wild more. It's just a thinner consistency with really great coverage. This Too Faced one also has really good coverage. It's just, I didn't reach for it as much. I did use it on those days where I didn't want to wear foundation, so I would use this kind of as a foundation, and I enjoyed it that way. So I would just spot conceal, use it under my eyes a little bit, and that was it. Blend it out, throw some blush on, brow, and you know, just that classic no makeup look. That's what I like this for. So I'll continue to use this. It's not one that I reach for that often. I find it just a little bit thick. But for those no makeup looks, it's worth keeping it around for that. As far as powder goes, I have 3, so a loose, a pressed, and then an under eye. The under eye powder is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. I have the shade 1 Fair. I feel like you get to a certain point and it just is hard to finish the product. I don't know what it is. I can kind of see just a ring where it looks like I've used up more product, but I've been trying to finish this up for quite some time and I just can't get to it. However, I love this product. I'll probably repurchase it. I know she just came out with her translucent brightening one. I'm not necessarily interested in that. I don't really like that bright under eye, but I do really appreciate this powder. I use it all the time, clearly, and it's really great. The pressed powder I have is the Glowish by Huda Beauty in the shade Light Medium. So this is like a luminous pressed powder. And I picked this one because it is a little bit darker for me. So I knew that going into winter, I probably wasn't going to be able to use this as much as I wanted. And I really like this powder. I know some people don't like how luminous it is. I don't find it that luminous. However, I'm very light-handed when it comes to my products, so that could be part of it. But this just, it sets your makeup really nice. It does have some coverage to it. You can't see it too much on my hand. You can see the sheen though. And so I did really like this, since it is darker, to just darken up some foundations if I found them a little bit too light for me. And this is a really great powder. I love this. I love this a lot. The last powder that I have is the loose powder. So this is the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder, and I have the shade Naturally Neutral. So, you know, I used this a few times over the month. Like, I did give this a fair shot. And at first I was like, oh, this is really nice. I forgot how much I liked this powder. It is a really good setting powder. However, I do think I'm going to declutter it. For me, it just almost sets your makeup too much. So for my preference of wanting just a natural dewy finish, it completely takes down any shine in your foundation and makes it a lot more matte. And I'm just not looking for a powder like that. I really just want the powder to take down like the wetness of the foundation so it's not sticking to my face or anything. This, I don't know. I was going back and forth, but I do think I'm just going to declutter it because I know I'm not going to reach for it. It's not a bad product. It's a really great product, and I might repurchase it in the future. I wish I had a mini of this product. I would enjoy it so much more if it just wasn't so big and bulky. And I also just don't like, it doesn't have any kind of stopper or sifter. I have to use like these cotton rounds to make sure that it doesn't fly everywhere. So I think this is just, it's had its day in my collection. I enjoy using it, but for my makeup preferences now, it's not something I'm gonna reach for. So I'm just gonna move it out. On to foundation. I have 5 foundations. It was probably a little bit more than I could chew. I don't think I'll be choosing 5 for this next round, but let's get started talking about them. So I have 2 from Wet n Wild. I have the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation in the shade Cream Ivory. And then I have the Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator in the shade Light. So I picked these 2. I'm pretty sure that this is supposed to replace this because this cushion foundation is now discontinued. However, this cushion foundation is just so much better than this tinted hydrator. I know this is really popular, but I don't like it that much. I feel like it's a foundation that wants to be a tinted moisturizer. I'm not really sure. It's just very wet when I put it on my face, and then powder makes it too matte or just doesn't take down that wet look enough for me. This is just perfectly natural. It's sheer. It looks like you're wearing nothing on the skin. I really wish they didn't discontinue this. Luckily, I do have a backup. I like it that much. This was a foundation I took with me to the Philippines. So if you haven't seen any of my videos, I lived in the Philippines for 2 years. I went to Cyprus for 2 years, and now I'm in France. So I was very limited to the amount of makeup I could take because I lived out of one suitcase. And this was the foundation I took to Philippines. That's how much I like this. So this is really great. You can't get your hands on it. It's discontinued. This is not bad, just it's not my favorite. I definitely prefer this one. And then there's other tinted moisturizers I prefer over this as well, which one of them is this one. So this is the Dr. Jart BB Beauty Balm. I have the shade 01 Light Medium. This is just a way better tinted moisturizer over that Wet n Wild one. It does pull very gray leaning when you swatch it on your hand, but it color matches very well. I find that it kind of just adjusts to your skin tone. I like that one a lot. I've had it for a while, and it's one that every time I pull it out, I remember how much I like it. It's a really great BB cream that I think is underrated. I pulled this out because I saw that they came out with a newer version of this, but I kind of have a feeling that it's repackaged. I don't know if it's necessarily a new formula. If you know more information about that, please leave me a comment down below. I did try to pick up the newer one. However, it's not available in Europe as far as the last time I checked. So that's why I just haven't picked it up, and I decided to show this one more love before I buy another foundation. Would probably be smart of me, but this one is just so much better than this one. This is way less expensive. So if you're looking for just a more affordable option, go with this one. It's not like it's terrible, but this just wears so much better. It wears down naturally and it looks so natural on the skin. I can't speak highly enough about this one. I would probably say out of the 5, this was my favorite. And then the last 2 foundations, I have the Dior Air Flash. I have the shade 201. I pulled this one in because around the time that I started Shop My Stash, when I was pulling the products out, it was announced that this one was discontinued. So I thought, let's give this one a last hurrah. This is a good foundation. It just didn't blow me away. And I don't know if maybe the one that I have is a little bit older, so it doesn't perform as well as it should. It's definitely out of the 5, the most heaviest coverage. I just found it a little bit more matte than I would prefer, which is not a bad thing. You can definitely mix this with a lot of different foundations, but I know this is highly loved, and the people who love it, like, they love this foundation. Like, I know someone channel that I watched, this was her wedding day foundation. A lot of people love this foundation. I remembered why I don't reach for it as much. Whereas, you know, the Dr. Jar, I was like, why don't I reach for this? And then this one, I was like, oh yeah, now I remember why I don't reach for it. It's just a little bit too matte. I mean, the aerosol is cool. Like, I like that feature and it's easy to use, but it's missing just that little extra. And then the last one I have is the Natasha Denona Face Glow Foundation. I think this is also discontinued. So I pulled in 3 discontinued foundations because I have them and I want to use them. However, this I had never tried. It was in my untried bin, and I am testing out all the Natasha Denona products that I had, specifically the eyeshadow palettes, because I plan on doing a video ranking all my Natasha Denona palettes. So we won't be going over eyeshadow. Currently, I'm doing looks with them all. I'm wearing one of them today, the mini gold. But because of that, I decided, okay, whatever Natasha Denona products, we'll kind of go with that theme. So that's why I pulled this one in, and I was scared to use this. I don't know why. I had a feeling it was going to be very, very glowy. I mean, it's called the Face Glow Foundation. So for some reason, I just put off trying this. And then finally I was like, this is in Shop My Stash, like, you need to use it. I used it and it wasn't as bad as I thought. So it is very glowy, but for some reason, I kind of think I was just expecting like a highlighter foundation almost. It's not that glowy. It is very dewy. So by the end of the day, I just did not like how it looked. I could see how people with very dry skin could really like that. The best way that I found this worked for me was as a mixer foundation. And I think for a majority of people, this is going to be a perfect mixer foundation. I mixed it with the Dr. Jart and it made this foundation even better, if you can believe it. I mixed it with the Dior. It made this one so much better. So any foundation that's just a little bit too matte, looking at you, Dior, then this just adds the perfect amount of luminosity. And that's what I'll be keeping this foundation for. I will never probably ever wear it by itself unless I just overnight get extremely dry skin. So that's what I would recommend this foundation for. I'm not sure if she's reformulating this or she just completely got rid of it. I know it was on sale a lot at Sephora. I have no idea what's going on with this, but if you are able to find it, because sometimes I do see it, I would pick it up if you have like a lot of matte foundations that now maybe you like dewy foundations, you want to just bump up the luminosity. This would be really great for that. I have the shade 20 and it's a little bit light for me, but it does work. Moving on to complexion products, I'm going to talk about my non-Natasha Denona products and then we'll move on to all of those. So the cream bronzer that I chose, this is the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. I have the original. While I still have this, I'm not going to repurchase the reformulated one. I have too much product, but you can really, really start to see a dip in that. I'm so happy about that. This is a really great bronzer. I'm wearing it today. I really, really love this. It's a little bit lighter than I would prefer. However, for just those natural days where I just want a little bit of color, I really enjoyed using this. This was something, you know, when I wore the Too Faced, just spot concealed, I would use this bronzer because it looked so natural on the skin. I highly enjoy this. I'm glad that they came out with more shades. I think that was very much needed, although a little bit late. And I will continue to use this. This is one I am determined to use the entire thing. And then for blush, I have this cream blush. This is the Nude's All Over Bronze color in the shade Sunkissed. I mean, it says bronze color, but I used it as a blush. It's definitely like that sunburnt look, and that's exactly why I love it. I really enjoyed this so much more than I anticipated. The only thing I don't like is you really have to wind it all the way down, or else like there's like a hole in here and it'll smush the product. Even if you have it like just a little bit up, it'll do that. You have to wind it all the way down. But I don't have too many NudeStix color sticks. This is actually my only one. I've decluttered the rest of them, but hands down my favorite color. I just think this is great for summer, great now that we're going into fall. It's a really good year-round blush, and I loved how this looked on my skin. I'm absolutely going to keep this. Now let's talk about my Natasha Denona complexion products. There's quite a few, and I have a lot of thoughts. So I have the Natasha Denona Bloom, I have the Natasha Denona Tan, and then I have the Bronze Cheek. So I think the only one I don't have is the Love. I'm not 100% sure. I lost track, but I lusted over these. So this one is the Bronze, and then you have the Tan, and then you have the Bloom. This Bloom one came out. I wanted it so bad. When they came out, I couldn't purchase them because I wasn't, you know, in a place where I had a stable home. I was moving around a lot. So I ended up purchasing them, sending them to my sister, and I finally got to use them for the first time. And to say that I was just disappointed is an understatement. They're nice, but they're just not practical is what I don't like about them. I pulled in all of these and realized like I had like no real bronzer shade. The only one I have is this one here from the Tan. Like the bronze one, yes, is very bronzy, but this is a blush, this is a highlight, this is a highlight, this is a highlight. Like I'm not gonna use these for bronzers. The Bloom one clearly doesn't have a bronzer. So this Tan one was like the only one that had a bronzer and just had one. Like the rest of these three are all highlights. Natasha Denona clearly loves glow. She loves glow. I've discovered that. She loves highlight. This blush here, even though, you know, it's more of the Bloom, so you have the blush here, but even these three are just so highlighty. They're really just gonna give a different kind of glow. And I found it hard to use them all because they weren't as cohesive as I wanted. I wish that she came out with these. These are a great size. The Tan one was definitely my favorite out of all three, but I wish that they were just more cohesive in that they had a blush, a bronzer, and a highlight, because then it would just be so much more practical. Even this, like this one, you could have kept this one. Wait, you could have kept this one. This is the blush color, had the bronzer, had the highlight, and then just like even a different bronzer or a different blush. But there's just two highlights, and then this blush, I mean, honestly, should replace this blush. This blush is so not pigmented. It really doesn't even show up on your skin. So I take that back. I wish that they replaced this and replaced this with even two cream blushes. would have been fine, and then that palette would get way more use. The problem is you have to have all three to have a cohesive blush, bronzer, and highlight. You can't just reach for one and be good. And if that's what she was going for, that's fine. But for me, I just wish it was a little bit more practical. I am gonna keep them and get some more use out of them, but I could see them being decluttered out of my collection fairly soon. So if you haven't purchased these and you wanted them and you lusted over them like I did, I would honestly hold off and buy something else from her because it just is not practical. I do have 3 other products from her that aren't like these little quads. So I have the I Need a Nude Glow Highlight. I don't think this got really good reviews, but I actually really liked this. The only thing is it's very hard in the pan, so it's a little bit tough to pick up, but the color on this, I really like. I love this color highlight. That is the highlight that I'm wearing today. And I have nothing bad to say about this. I would rather have a one pan product like this than a product that's not practical like this one. So I did reach for this quite a bit. I liked this highlight a lot. And then I have 2 of her little minis. So I have the Bronze and Glow and I have the Blush and Glow. These 2 really save the day because as I mentioned, there just wasn't a lot of bronzer options for these. So this one is the one that I used the most. I love this. Out of all the Natasha Denona products that I've gone over for complexion, the Bronze and Glow is my absolute favorite. I use this the most. You can, put this color in the crease. It's that perfect blush tone bronzer, being a bronzer, but not a blush. I love this tone. And then this highlight here is perfect. I use these on the eyes all the time, especially, again, going back, that was like a staple look. I would wear this Too Faced one, then I would wear that Chanel bronzer and put these 2 on my eyes. I loved this look. This Blush and Glow, I probably would say is my second favorite, even though I didn't use it as much. This blush, while it's very pink, it doesn't come off like that. It is a little bit more subtle, so it's not as scary as it looks in the pan. I just preferred this highlight over this one. This was a little bit lighter and more natural, so I just naturally grabbed for this one. But this is where it's at. Like, don't get these and get these little minis instead. They're just so much better and they're way more affordable. I can see myself finishing up this. That's how much I loved it. And I like the size. Everything about these little minis is perfect, but these quad ones, she just tried and she keeps coming out with more of them. So I have to think they're somewhat popular, but I know I won't reach for this as much as I want to. So the last products we have is setting spray and lips. I'm not gonna go over mascara and brows. Actually, yes I am, because this I do not like. But for the most part, those are staples that I just keep in my Shop My Stash until I finish them up, and then I'll talk about them in my empties. And then eyeshadow, we already talked about why I'm not gonna go over those. Let's just get the brow product out of the way. I already ruined the surprise, but this is the Tarte Busy Gal Brows, and I have the shade Medium Brown. This is a brow gel. The Anastasia Brow Wiz is the brow pencil I use. This brow gel was absolutely terrible. There's no way to even, I can't hide it. I mean, here's the color, medium brown. It's not really gonna show it to you. The main issue with this is just too dark for my brows. I usually get medium brown, like I have medium brow in the Brow Wiz, but this was so dark. There's even some videos I went back and I almost just refilmed them because my brows look so dark. So I just stopped using this. This is gonna go in the trash. It's getting decluttered. We'll pull in another brow gel, but this was definitely not the one for me. It wasn't bad. I like the little tiny spoolie on this, but the shade was not right and it looked awful. For setting spray, I brought in the Too Faced Hangover RX 3-in-1 Replenishing Primer and Setting Spray. I've had this. This is probably my oldest setting spray and it feels like it's never empty. I wish I could see how much is left. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason. I don't know why I keep trying this over and over again and then reminding myself that I don't like it. So I don't like this. The spray is just awful. It's old, so it doesn't have like that fine mist spray. It just completely like wets your face. I know a lot of people like the smell of this coconut, and normally I love coconut, but I don't like the smell of this. There's nothing I like, and for some reason, I'm neglecting all the other setting sprays that I have to try and finish this. So I haven't decided what I want to do because part of me wants to declutter this, but it's also not something that I can resell. So I don't know if I'm going to keep this around or not. I'll probably will and find some sort of just other use for it to just get it out of here. But I'm over trying this again and again and trying to convince myself that I like it because it was so popular when I just don't. I don't have a reason for it. I don't like this. Last thing we have to talk about is lips. So I have 9 here. I have like a little 9 compartment thing from Refer, so that's why I picked 9 of them. 3 of them were from Lisa Eldridge, so let's just go over those really quick. I have swatches here. So this one is the Velvet Intrigue, and then I have Velvet Affair, and then this is her gloss in Songbird. Clearly I have a type. I enjoy all 3 of these. I have no complaints about any of these lipsticks, quite honestly. I recently did a pretty big, massive lipstick declutter. I'll link that video above. And so I enjoy all the lipsticks that I have right now. It's more just trying to get more use out of them and focus on specific ones, so they're all getting an equal amount of love. No complaints about these. I want to get more Lisa Eldridge shades, but first I gotta give some of my other lipsticks some love because lipsticks tend to go bad faster than other products. So I'm gonna do that before I purchase other ones. I have the 4th one. This is just a little mini of the Huda Beauty Silk Balm. I think I'm almost out of this. I wear this all the time. I will probably repurchase this one once I'm finished with it. I don't have too many clear glosses, and I really enjoy how this one feels. I like this one a lot. And then the last 5 lipsticks are all Charlotte Tilbury, so I'm gonna swatch them here for you. This one is the Matte Revolution in Very Victoria. Then I have the Matte Revolution in Pillow Talk. And then I have 3 of the little minis here. So let me see, what was the first one I pulled? JK Magic is this one. And then I have Amazing Amal, which is this one. No, sorry, Amazing Amal is this one, this dark berry red. And then this middle one is Viva la Vergara. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They're all based on people. I don't support J.K. Rowling, but unfortunately that's the name of this shade. I can't really change it, but all of these are really great. I tried this formula for the first time and I loved this. I would say out of all 5 of these, Pillow Talk is probably my least favorite out of them, surprisingly. I love all the Pillow Talk products. I understand why she's extended so much of the shade range, but the lipstick is definitely not my favorite. It's probably my least favorite out of all the Pillow Talk products that I've tried, and the rest of these were great. I normally wear very nude color lips. My boyfriend, he does not like lipstick, which is not why I don't wear it. I just tend to not wear a lot of lipstick. And first of all, him and I have dated, we've dated 8 years. He has never one time complimented my lipstick. He always complains about it. And for the first time today, actually, he complimented my lipstick. I couldn't believe it. And I was wearing JK Magic, is what I'm wearing now, and the iconic Nude lip liner. He said it looked very natural. So, I mean, we're making progress with that because he really does not like lipstick. The 2 other ones, Amazing Amal and Viva la Vergara. This one, the Viva la Vergara, I actually had to go take it out of my purse. I really, really liked it. I just took the swatch off and I'm gonna re-swatch it on my hand. This made me kind of fall in love with non-nude lipsticks. I get a little bit scared to not wear something that's not nude or pinky nude or mauve, like just anything that's not that neutral tone kind of scares me, but I wore this one a lot. This was actually probably the one that I used the most. I really enjoyed this lipstick for some reason. I felt like it was bold, but it wasn't too bold where I felt like it was just attention on my lips. And I liked this one a lot. I probably will pick up the full size if I can go through this. The minis are pretty big. I mean, they look very small, but there's quite a bit of product in this. And with the amount of lip products I have, it's gonna take me some time to get through it. But if I do finish it, I will probably repurchase it because I just couldn't believe liking something that was a little bit more out of my comfort zone. And just for example, you know, like this Lisa Eldridge one, this is a dark color, right? But I always just take my finger and then I'll dot it on like this. So that way it's a lot more sheer of a color. I never will take like that color and just full on swipe it so it's this color on my lips. So that just tells you how much I really enjoyed that lipstick. Okay, but that's a wrap up talking about all the products I've been using for the last month. Now let's pan over to all my makeup drawers and pick out some new products. Okay, starting off with primer. I think I want to grab this one. So this is the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Primer. This is just a little mini I got along with their pressed powders, and I don't think I've ever used this. So we're gonna get this one. And then I'm also gonna grab the Milk Hydro Grip because I have another one back there. So let's just try and use up both of these. Okay, foundation's gonna be a little bit tougher because last time I grabbed 5, that was too many. So I think I want to grab one that I don't use too much. So this Kosas Revealer foundation, it didn't blow me away right when I tried it. So I'm just gonna test it out some more, see if it's gonna stay in my collection or we're gonna declutter it. And then I have multiple drawers of foundation. And I knew I wanted to pull this one in. This is the Wet n Wild PhotoFocus. I talked about this in my top 5 foundations for fall. I will link that video up above, but I haven't pulled this out in a while and it reminded me of how much I like this. So we're gonna give this one some more love as well. This drawer houses all my discontinued foundations and then my concealer. So first things first, we're gonna swap out the Benefit for my Becca Under Eye Corrector. And then for concealer, kind of wanna grab 2 as well. Let's grab this one. This is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Concealer. I'm making good progress on this. And then let's just also, while we're on it, pick out the Kosas Revealer Concealer because that way we can kind of match it with the foundation, see what we think. So these are gonna be the 2 concealers. On to powder, I'm gonna pull a pressed and then a loose. I'm gonna pull this one. This is the Makeup Forever powder. I reviewed this recently on my channel. I will link that video. I really love this powder, so I'm gonna give it some more love and not just focus on things that I'm seeing if I wanna declutter. And then for pressed powder, I'm gonna pull in, we'll just kind of go with a theme here. So this By Terry Pressed Hyaluronic Powder. It's just a little mini, like I said. So the little mini set came with these 2. This is the loose powder, pressed powder, and then the little primer. But this is really cute. It has like a little puff in it. And I do like this powder. I've used it already. Let's give this one some love. Here we have all my face palettes. So these are just things that have different categories in them, like blush, bronzer. So it doesn't necessarily have one category. I have been meaning to pull this in. This is the Tom Ford, let's see. This is the Tom Ford Soleil Eye and Cheek Palette in 02 Warm. Talked about this before on my channel, and I think it's time to just really hone in on my thoughts since the suede palette, the white suede palette came in. I kind of wanted it, but I didn't like this palette. So I'm hoping that this will persuade me to not buy that. And we're gonna test that out. And then since we're already gonna be doing Tom Ford, let's also pull this in. So this is in Incandescent. It has a blush and a highlight here. So let's just also pull this. I have not given it as much love as I know that I should. So let's pull this one out as well. For bronzer, since none of those little palettes have bronzer in them, I'm gonna pull 2 of them. Let's see, I'm gonna pull this Charlotte Tilbury cream one, and then I might as well pull in my Charlotte Tilbury powder. And then just for good measure, let's pull in the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. So these are the 3 bronzers we're gonna go with. All right, for blush, the 2 Tom Ford palettes do both have a blush in it. So I already have 2 powder blushes. So I'm going to pull a cream, and is this a cream or is this a powder? That is a cream. I'm gonna pull in this Tarte Cream blush. This is in Peaches and Cream. I don't know if I've used this or how much I've used it. So we're gonna just gather some thoughts, see what we think of this one. Highlight. Again, those 2 Tom Ford things, they both have highlights. So I think we're good on powder highlights. And I have yet to try this. This is the Marc Jacobs Dewdrops. Well, I have yet to pull it into a Shop My Stash. In my declutter video for highlight, I'll link that video. This was kind of on the chopping block. I put it in my maybes. So I think it's time, use it for a month, see if we're gonna keep it around. And if not, it's gonna go. So before we move on to eyeshadow, I wanted to do lipsticks real quick. This is my unopened drawer of lipsticks, and I figured we're just gonna pull 9 out and give them a test because I doubt I'll do a dedicated video. So let's pull out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's 9. All right, let's go over these shades. Okay, this is gonna be interesting because I had no idea what the shades were. I just pulled them blind. Let's start with these 4 YSL ones. So this first one is in shade 85, which is New Fatale. This second one here is the shade 10 in Beige Tribute. Then here is one of the oil slicks, so that's this one here, and that one is in shade 44, Nude Lavaillé. I don't know what that means, but it's clearly French. And then here is the YSL Zoe Kravitz collection collaboration in 125 Honey Nude. So here are the 4 YSL ones. And then here we have the last 5. So this one is Becca and Sugar. This one, you can't really see right here, but it's clear. It's the Too Faced Pillow Talk Balm. So it's just a clear gloss. And then these 3 are the Pat McGraths. So I have the Luxe Trance, which is in Sorry Not Sorry. And then these 2 are the Blitz Trance. This one's in Lady Stardust. And then this one's in Full Fantasy. I think it's clear to say that I have a type, but these are the 9 that we're gonna go with. And for eyeshadow, I think it's only fitting we pull out these 2 Tom Ford quads. So I have Nude Dip and I have Silver Topaz. Here is Silver Topaz, if I can open it. And then also Nude Dip. And I kind of want just something a little bit more neutral. Let's pull these 2 in as well. So these are the Bare Minerals Gen Nudes eyeshadow palettes. I have neutral and I have rose. Let's just show you them really quickly. Here is neutral, and then here is rose. So let's do these 4 eyeshadow palettes. Okay, and then here is a recap of all the products that are gonna be in this month's Shop My Stash. I think I have a good amount of products. Last month was just a little bit overwhelming, so I feel like this is a little bit more manageable. But that is going to complete this video as far as Shop My Stash. Make sure you come back in a month and see what I think of all these products here. But with that, I will let you guys go, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.